The great crystal hall of the Arlin clan was never silent. It was always full of voices, high sounds, and glowing lights. But today, everything stopped. The aliens inside the hall froze like statues. Their blue and gold eyes stared at one man standing alone in the center. The human. His name was Evan Hale, a simple engineer from Earth. He wore a plain gray jacket, dusty boots, and a calm face. But inside, his heart felt heavy, because hundreds of alien eyes watched him like he was a strange animal. Above him, on the throne made of shining stone, stood Chief Markala, leader of one of the oldest alien clans in the galaxy. Strong horns curved from her head, and glowing lines covered her arms. She was powerful, respected, and feared by many. But today, she did not look angry. She looked confused, maybe even hurt. Beside her stood her daughter Lyri, a small alien girl with soft white skin, glowing blue eyes, and gentle movements. She was no older than 8 human years. Lyri hid behind her mother, peeking at Evan with shy eyes. She held her hands close to her chest like she was afraid someone might grab her. And then, the chief asked the question that froze the entire hall. Her voice was loud and sharp, echoing like thunder. "Human, why don't you touch my daughter?" Evan felt the air turn cold. The aliens gasped. Some whispered to each other, "Is he rejecting her? Is human touch dangerous? Is he insulting the chief?" Others looked angry, gripping their staffs tighter. To them, physical touch was respect, kindness, trust. Not touching someone could mean the opposite. But Evan said nothing. He stood still, his hands relaxed by his side, his face calm. He looked at Lyri, just a child, hiding behind her mother, eyes fearful. She stared back at him, not angry, not sad, just scared. Chief Markala took a step forward, her eyes burning with confusion. "For 3 days," she said, "you worked in our home. You repaired our machines. You ate with our warriors. You spoke to my family. But every time Lyri came to you, every time she tried to greet you, you stepped back." The hall filled with murmurs. A proud alien warrior shouted, "Does the human think he is too good to greet our chief's daughter?" Another alien hissed, "Maybe he fears her glow." A third one whispered, "Or maybe humans are cold." Evan heard everything. He stayed quiet, but his jaw tightened for a moment. Lyri pressed her small hands tighter against her chest. She looked at Evan with wide eyes, almost pleading for something. She knew the truth, or at least part of it, but the others didn't. Chief Markala raised her hand, silencing the hall. "Human," she said again, voice firm but softer now. "Give me your answer. Why don't you touch my daughter?" Evan slowly lifted his head. He looked at the chief, then at the hundreds of aliens watching him, and finally at Lyri. The little girl's glow flickered, showing her rising fear. Evan understood that glow. He had seen something similar before. He took a deep breath. Then, in a slow, clear voice that carried through the silent hall, he said, "Because she is too pure." The hall erupted into chaos. What does that mean? Is that an insult? Is he calling our princess weak? Is he hiding something? Even the chief looked shocked. Her daughter? Too pure? What kind of strange human answer was that? Lyri's eyes widened. Her hands dropped an inch. The glow on her skin softened for a moment, like his words touched something deep inside her. Chief Markala slammed her staff on the floor. The hall shook and fell silent again. She stared at Evan with sharp eyes. "Explain yourself," she ordered. Now, but Evan didn't move. He first looked around the hall slowly, noticing every harsh stare and every confused face. He could feel the heavy pressure of hundreds of aliens demanding the truth. Finally, he looked at Lyri again. She did not hide now. She stepped one tiny foot forward. Her glow flickered like a trembling candle. Evan saw fear in her eyes, but also trust. She trusted him. Evan lowered his gaze respectfully and spoke softly. I did not touch her. Because someone like her should only be touched when she feels safe. And she never did. The hall froze again. Chief Markala's mouth opened slightly, her anger fading into something else. Uncertainty. The warriors looked at each other. The elders leaned forward. Leary's breath caught in her throat. Evan stood alone, surrounded by hundreds of aliens but completely calm. His words hung in the air like lightning, ready to strike. She is too pure for fear, too gentle for pressure. I saw her pain, even when none of you did. And with that, the entire hall went silent again. The hall stayed silent after Evan's words. It was not the silence of peace. It was the silence before a storm. Hundreds of aliens stared at him, confused, angry, or shocked. But one pair of eyes looked different. Leary's. Her small blue eyes locked on Evan, wide and trembling. As if she finally heard something she had waited for a long time. Chief Markala narrowed her eyes at him. What pain? She asked sharply. My daughter is strong. She is blessed. She is not weak. Evan slowly shook his head. Strength is not about glowing skin or power, he said softly. It is also about the heart. And her heart is hurting. Whispers exploded around the hall again. Impossible. The chief's daughter is perfect. Is he trying to trick us? Humans lie for survival. But Evan ignored the noise. Instead, his eyes stayed on Leary, gentle, steady, and calm. He could see her tiny hands shaking, even as she tried to hide them behind her sleeves. Evan thought back to the moment he first saw her. 3 days earlier. Flashback begins. Evan had just entered the Arlen workshop, carrying tools and repair kits. The aliens watched him with curiosity, some with distrust. Humans were rare guests in this sector. But Evan came to fix a broken power core, not to make enemies. As Evan walked inside, he heard soft footsteps. When he turned, he saw her, Leary, quietly standing near the doorway. She held a small basket of fruit in her hands. She walked carefully toward him, her glowing skin flickering with shy light. When she reached him, she lifted the basket with both hands. For you, she whispered. Evan smiled politely. He reached out slow, gentle, showing no threat. But just before their hands met, he saw her flinch. It was tiny, almost invisible. But he noticed her glow flickered sharply. Her fingers curled as if preparing for pain. Her eyes shut tight for a second. Evan froze. She was not scared of him. She was scared of touch. He slowly pulled his hand back and smiled again. Thank you, he said softly, his voice warm but distant, making sure no part of him came close to her skin. Leary's eyes opened. She stared at him, confused, then relieved. That was the first time Evan understood something was wrong, something no one else saw. Back to the present hall. Chief Markala frowned, trying to understand his words. Pain? She repeated. My daughter never told me of any pain. Evan looked at her with calm but firm eyes. Because she didn't know how to tell you, he said. Fear is silent. It hides in small things. In her hands. In her glow. In the way she moves. Leary lowered her head, her fingers twisting together. The glow on her skin flickered again, a nervous flicker. Soft and quick. Evan continued. Every time someone came close to her, she felt fear. Someone must have hurt her before, or scared her. Someone must have touched her in a way that broke her trust. Asterisk. The chief's eyes widened, and the room filled with gasps. That is not true. A warrior shouted angrily. The princess is treated with honor. Another elder added, humans do not understand our children. But Evan stood firm. When she tried to shake my hand, she flinched, he said. When a guard pat her head, she froze. When I reached to help her pick up a tool, she backed away. He pointed gently at Leary. Look at her hands right now. The chief turned slowly. Leary's hands were shaking. She tried to hide it, But it was too late. Her mother whispered, "Leary, why did you never tell me this?" Leary bit her lip. Her glow flickered again. I didn't want to make you sad," she whispered, the chief's heart broke in her chest. Evan stepped forward, not too close, but close enough that Leary could hear him clearly. "She doesn't fear people," he said. "She fears touch, and touch should never be forced. That is why I kept my distance." He looked directly at the chief. "I did not want to be another hand that scared her." Silence fell again heavy, emotional thick. Chief Markala's strength started to crack. She looked at her daughter with soft, broken eyes. Leary tried to smile but failed. Her small shoulders trembled. Then something unexpected happened. Leary took a tiny step toward Evan. Everyone gasped out. Her glow steadied. She looked at him with quiet gratitude. "You saw me," she whispered. Evan nodded. "I did. And you did not try to touch me," she continued. "You did not force me. I felt safe." Those words hit the hall like a wave. The warriors lowered their weapons. The elders looked ashamed. Chief Markala felt tears burn in her eyes. Evan bowed his head slightly. "And that," he said softly, "is why I said she is too pure. Her heart is untouched by cruelty. I did not want my hand to be the first thing that frightened her." Leary's eyes shimmered with emotion. And for the first time, the hall began to change. The hall stood silent, like the whole world was holding its breath. Leary's soft words, "You saw me," still floated in the air. No one expected a child to speak with such honesty. No one expected a human to understand her more deeply than her own people. Chief Markala looked shaken. Her powerful horns, her glowing armor, her strong presence, none of it hid the confusion growing inside her. She stepped closer to her daughter. "Leary, is this true? You feared touch?" Leary's eyes dropped to the floor. Her small hands hid again in her sleeves. "I tried to be brave," she whispered. "Everyone touches each other. Everyone pats my head. Everyone hugs me. I thought, maybe, if I stay quiet, they will stop." The chief's heart cracked. Her breath trembled. "Why did you not tell me?" Leary swallowed hard. "Because I thought you would be disappointed." Those words hit the chief harder than any weapon. Evan watched quietly. His eyes filled with a sadness only he understood. He had seen children hide their pain before. On Earth, on other planets. Trauma spoke the same language everywhere, silent, quiet, buried. But there was something else about Leary, something deeper. Something unusual. He stepped forward slightly, not too close, but enough that Leary could see his face clearly. "There is more," he said. Everyone turned to him. "What more?" a warrior demanded angrily. Evan pointed at the faint glow on Leary's arms. "Her glow. It flickers in patterns. Fear patterns." The hall reacted again. Fear patterns? Only elders knew about those. Only healers studied that ancient sign. But how does a human know? Chief Markala narrowed her eyes. "Explain." Evan nodded slowly. "In my travels I studied different species," he said. "And your clan has a rare condition. When a young member feels strong fear, their glow becomes unstable. Their heart beats in a dangerous rhythm. Touch can make it worse." Gasps filled the hall. An elder pointed at Evan shakily. "No outsider knows this. This knowledge is kept inside the clan. Even many of our own do not know." Evan looked at Leary with soft eyes. "I knew because she showed me." Chief Markala looked at her daughter again. "Leary, did the glow hurt you?" Leary nodded, slowly, painfully. "Sometimes my chest felt tight," she whispered. "Sometimes I could not breathe well. Sometimes, when people hugged me, I felt dizzy." The chief staggered as if struck. The guilt in her eyes was heavy like a stone. "How could I not see this?" she whispered to herself. Evan stepped in gently. Because she hid it well. Children hide fear from those they love. Leary looked up at him again. And you didn't touch me. Because you felt it, right? She asked in her soft, trembling voice. Evan nodded. I saw it in your glow. And in your eyes. Leary blinked. My eyes? Yes, Evan said. Every time someone reached toward you, your eyes shifted. You hoped for kindness, but prepared for pain. Those words silenced the entire hall. Thousands of years of tradition suddenly felt wrong. Powerful warriors lowered their heads. Elders closed their eyes in shame. The chief knelt in front of her daughter and held her shoulders, not tightly, but with gentle care. Leary, you are not weak, she said. You are not a burden. You never disappointed me. I failed you by not seeing your fear. Leary's lips trembled. Her eyes shined with soft tears. She lifted her hand, touched her mother's face lightly, so lightly it felt like a breeze. I only wanted to be brave, she whispered. A tear fell down the chief's cheek. Then Leary turned toward Evan. She moved slowly, carefully, as if every step carried meaning. Evan, she whispered. Yes? He said softly. Leary took a deep breath. Can I tell them something? Evan nodded once. Of course. Leary stepped forward. Her glow flickered, but not in fear this time, in courage. 3 days ago, she began, I went to give him fruit. He reached out his hand. I felt scared. I thought he would touch me. The hall waited. But he didn't, she continued. He smiled. He stepped back. And he let me choose. Her voice grew steadier. No one ever let me choose before. A long silence followed. Evan bowed his head slightly. It was your choice to make, not mine. Leary's glow brightened for a moment. Then she said something that shocked everyone in the hall. Human touch does not scare me. Forced touch does. A ripple went through the crowd. She looked at her people, the warriors, the elders, the chief. You all love me, she said. But sometimes, love can still hurt. Tears filled dozens of alien eyes. Evan stepped back, letting her voice carry the moment. And in that moment, everyone knew this child was not weak. She was brave. She was pure. She was finally speaking. The hall felt different now. The anger was gone, replaced by something heavier: guilt, confusion, and silent regret. Warriors who once pointed their spears at Evan now lowered their heads. Elders who once doubted him now stared at the floor. But no one looked more shaken than Chief Markala. Her daughter's trembling voice, forced touch scares me, still echoed in her mind. She was a strong leader, feared across star systems. Yet she did not see the fear in her own child's heart. She rose slowly from her kneeling position, her tall figure casting a long shadow over the crystal floor. Her glowing patterns dimmed, showing her emotional pain. She spoke, her voice rough and trembling. Human, why did you not tell me sooner? Why did you not speak of this pain you saw? Evan stood calmly, his hands behind his back, shoulders straight. Because it was not my truth to tell, he said. It belonged to her. Asterisk, he pointed gently to Leary. If I spoke before she was ready, it would only hurt her more. The hall murmured with surprise. Aliens were not used to this kind of thinking. In their culture, leaders spoke for the young. Elders spoke for the weak. But Evan believed differently. He believed in choice. Chief Markala struggled to understand that. She placed a hand on her chest, feeling her heart beat too fast. So you saw her fear, she whispered. And you chose silence? Evan nodded. I chose protection. Leary stepped closer to him, her small fingers clutching her sleeves. He helped me, without touching me. I felt safe with him. Those simple words hit the chief harder than any wound. Suddenly, a warrior burst forward. His armor clanked loudly as he bowed deeply to the chief. My leader, he said, forgive me. I touched the princess many times. I did not know she feared it. Another warrior stepped forward, his eyes wet. Forgive me as well. I lifted her in joy many times. I thought she liked it. Leary shook her head softly. It is not your fault. I did not tell anyone. But the guilt only deepened in the room. Then a respected elder stepped up, his tall staff shaking in his hand. We failed you, child, he said. Not because we wished to hurt you, but because we did not watch closely. Leary lowered her head. Chief Markala turned to Evan again. And you saw what we missed. She tried to speak, but her voice broke. She clenched her fists, glowing lines trembling on her arms. For years, I believed I protected her, she whispered. I gave her guards, food, learning, safety. I built walls. Yet I never looked inside her heart. Her eyes softened, filled with shame. What kind of mother am I? She asked quietly. If a stranger sees my child more clearly than I do. The hall felt her pain. Even Evan felt it. He stepped a little closer, not too close to Leary, but enough to show respect. You are a good mother, he said softly. Leary loves you. She never blamed you. Leary nodded quickly. I never did. I was only scared. The chief closed her eyes, her breath shaky. But why did you call her too pure? She asked. Those words shook my people. Some thought you insulted us. Evan took a slow breath. Because her heart is untouched by cruelty, he said. She feels deeply. She sees kindness in small things. She carries innocence others lost long ago. He looked directly at the chief, his voice steady and gentle. When I saw her glowing skin flicker with fear, I knew the truth. She was not scared of people. She was scared of being hurt again. So I refused to touch her. The chief whispered, to protect her. Evan nodded, to protect her. A wave of emotion spread through the hall. Aliens who once viewed humans as rough, cold creatures now saw something else: understanding, patience, and mercy. Then something happened that no one expected. Chief Markala walked toward Evan. She was tall, almost 2 heads above him, but her steps were slow and heavy with regret. She stopped only a few feet away. She bowed. The hall gasped. The chief of the Arlen clan bowed to a human. My daughter trusts you, she said softly. That alone is worth more than pride. Evan Hawley. I am grateful. Evan was shocked, but he bowed back with respect. Thank you, Chief, he said. Leary moved closer, her glow calm now. She looked at Evan shyly. Evan, may I come stand beside you? Evan smiled gently. Only if you want to. She nodded. Slowly, she stepped to his side, not touching him, but standing close enough that she felt safe. Everyone saw it. The child who once feared. Closeness now chose it. The chief watched with tears in her eyes. Shame and pride mixed together in her heart. She whispered to herself. The human did not avoid her because he was cold. He avoided her because he cared. And from that moment, the entire clan began to see humans in a new light. The crystal hall felt softer now. The sharp tension from earlier faded into a new, fragile calm. Warriors who once glared at Evan now watched him with silent respect. Elders who once doubted him now nodded with quiet understanding. But one pair of eyes mattered most: Leary's. She stood at Evan's side, close enough to feel his presence, but not touching him. Her glow was gentle and steady, not wild with fear. For the first time, she looked like a child who felt safe. Chief Markala watched them with a mix of pride and heartbreak. Her daughter was finally speaking her truth. But it took a human to help her do it. She stepped forward and placed her hand over her heart. Evan Hawley, she said softly, you have given my daughter something even I could not give her. Safety. Evan bowed his head politely. Leary gave herself safety. I only respected her. The chief nodded, but her eyes were still clouded with emotion. Then a quiet voice broke the silence. "Evan." Leary whispered. He turned to her. "Yes?" Her fingers trembled as she held her sleeves. I want to be brave today." Evan's expression changed. Not fear, not excitement. He looked calm, steady, careful, exactly what she needed. "What do you want to do?" he asked. I took a shaky breath. "I want to try touching your hand." The hall gasped. Warriors leaned forward. Elder's eyes shot open wide. The chief held her breath. Evan stayed perfectly still. "Only if you truly want to," he reminded her. Leary nodded. "I do, because I trust you." A soft glow spread across her skin. Not fear, not panic, warmth. Evan lifted his hand halfway, not touching her, only waiting. His palm faced up, peaceful and patient. Leary's small hand hovered over his. Her breath came in shaky waves. Her glow flickered lightly. Everyone in the hall watched. Was this safe? Was this dangerous? Would her fear return? Leary closed her eyes for 1 second, then slowly lowered her hand until her tiny fingers touched Evan's palm. The hall exploded in gasps. Her glow flared for a moment, bright like a small star. A few aliens panicked, thinking her fear condition would activate again, but it didn't. The glow softened instead. Warm, calm, steady. Leary opened her eyes and smiled. "I'm okay," she whispered, amazed at herself. "I'm really okay." Evan smiled gently. He didn't squeeze her hand. He didn't move. He let her control the moment. "You did that," he said softly. "Not me." Leary held his hand for a few more seconds before letting go. She took a deep breath, like she had conquered something huge and invisible. Chief Markala pressed her hand to her mouth, tears filling her eyes. She looked at Evan with a mixture of gratitude and disbelief. "You healed her," the chief whispered. Evan shook his head. "No, she healed herself. She only needed someone to see her." The chief turned away for a moment, wiping her eyes. Strong leaders rarely cried, but today was different. Then a warrior spoke loudly, unable to control his emotion. "Human, you have done what our best healers could not. You helped the princess find peace." Another elder added, "Your patience is rare, even among our kind." And for the first time, the hall wasn't filled with judgment, it was filled with admiration. But the moment wasn't finished yet. Leary stepped forward again, her voice soft but brave. "Mother," she said, "I want to speak." The chief nodded, letting her daughter stand before everyone. Leary looked around the hall, her glow gentle. "I was never scared of people," she said. "I was scared of touch. I was scared of feeling pain again. But Evan never forced me. He never grabbed me. He gave me space. That is why I trust him." The hall listened in complete silence. Leary continued, "Touch should make you feel safe, not trapped. Today, I touched Evan's hand because I wanted to, not because someone expected me to." Her words were soft, but they echoed loudly through the hall. The elders bowed their heads in respect. Warriors placed their fists over their hearts. Even young aliens in the crowd watched with wide eyes, understanding something important for the first time. Chief Markala stepped forward, tears falling openly now. "My daughter," she said, her voice trembling, "you have more courage than warriors who carry blades. And you, Evan Hale, have more honor than many clan leaders." Evan bowed deeply. Leary looked at her hand again, amazed. "It didn't hurt," she whispered. "It felt nice." Evan smiled. "Because you chose it." Leary nodded. That moment, one small touch changed everything. The clan saw humans not as rude or distant, but as gentle and understanding. Leary no longer hid behind her mother. And the chief finally understood the truth she had missed for years. One touch, one choice, one moment of bravery. It became the start of a new bond between humans and the Arlen clan. and everyone knew. The story was far from over. The hall felt different now, lighter, brighter, almost glowing with a new kind of energy. Moments ago, hundreds of alien eyes stared at Evan with doubt and suspicion. Now those same eyes held respect, curiosity, and something even deeper, trust. Leary stood between her mother and Evan. Her glow was calm, steady, peaceful. She held her hands close, but not in fear, this time, in comfort. Every once in a while, she glanced at her hand, still amazed at what she had done. Evan Hull, the quiet human engineer, had not only repaired machines. He had repaired something far more important. A child's heart. Chief Markala stepped forward. She towered over Evan, but she did not look powerful in this moment. She looked humbled by truth, humbled by her child, humbled by the human who stood before her with gentle eyes. She placed her fist over her heart. A sign of deep respect in her clan. Evan Hale, she said, her voice echoing through the hall. You have shown us something rare. You have taught us something our elders forgot. You have given my daughter freedom from fear. Evan bowed his head. She found that freedom herself. The chief nodded. Perhaps. But you guided her toward it. She turned toward the entire clan. From this day forward, she declared, humans are not outsiders. They are our friends, our allies, and welcome at our halls. A deep rumble of approval spread across the hall. Warriors struck their staffs on the ground. Elders bowed deeply. Young aliens cheered, but Leary wasn't paying attention to any of them. She was looking at Evan. She stepped closer, almost shy, almost brave. Her glow flickered softly, not in fear, but in warmth. Evan, she whispered, looking up at him. May I hug you? Evan blinked. Of all the things he expected, this was not one of them. He knelt down so they were eye level. Only if you want to, he said gently. Leary nodded. I want to, because I am not scared now. She moved forward and wrapped her small arms around him. Her glow brightened gentle, warm, like a sunrise. The hall held its breath, but nothing dangerous happened. No fear spike. No glow burst. No trembling. It was the first safe hug of her life. Evan didn't squeeze hard. He didn't rush. He breathed slowly, letting her feel safe in her own time. Leary closed her eyes, smiling for the first time like a child who finally understood comfort. The hall erupted into soft emotional murmurs. Warriors wiped their eyes secretly. Elders nodded with deep respect. Even the chief let a tear fall freely. When Leary finally stepped back, she whispered, Thank you, Evan. You saw me when no one else did. Evan smiled. You deserve to be seen. A new beginning. Chief Markala raised her hand again. Let it be known across the stars, she announced, that the human who protected the purity of a child's heart will forever be honored in the Arlen clan. Two warriors brought forward a ceremonial sash woven with glowing threads. The chief placed it across Evan's shoulder. You are now heartkeeper of our clan, she said. One who guards the young and protects their spirit. Evan was stunned. I don't know if I deserve this. The chief smiled softly. Humility is why you deserve it. Leary touched the edge of the sash, her eyes shining. It suits you. Evan chuckled. If you say so. A promise. As the ceremony ended, Leary walked with Evan toward the exit of the hall. She held his sleeve lightly, not his hand, but close enough to show comfort. Will you stay with our clan? She asked hopefully. Evan looked at her with gentle eyes. I will stay as long as you want me to. Leary smiled, glowing softly. Then I hope you stay a long, long time. Evan nodded. I will. The chief approached them. Our doors will always be open to you, human. You have changed us. Evan looked back at Leary, the warriors, the elders, and the glowing hall. No, he said quietly. You all changed yourselves. I only showed you what you already had. The legend begins as Evan left the hall with Leary beside him. Whispers followed him, soft, emotional, filled with awe. The human who refused to touch her. The one who protected her purity. The one who saw her pain. The heart keeper. And Leary whispered the words that started it all. He said I was too pure. Those words became a story. Lesson. A reminder to all clans across the galaxy. Sometimes strength is not in touch. Sometimes courage is not in fighting. Sometimes heroism is as simple as giving someone space until they are ready. And that is how one human changed an entire alien clan, with patience, with kindness, and with a single powerful truth. She's too pure.